Good morning. How are we doing? We're going to do the geometry review, EOC review today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Here we go. Make sure it's and I need some scrap paper. Please make sure when you're testing and you have your scrap paper that you number your work and put your answers on your white sheet. It's a good strategy to use just in case you do a misalignment. Well, it's on the computer, but I still do it anyway. So I can just go back and check my work and stuff like that. And then you can still misalign on a test, even though it's on the computer. All right, you can skip just by accident. It happens, trust me. The area of a trapezoid. So we have to know the area of a trapezoid, the formula. And they give it to you here. I don't know if they're going to give it to you on your test, but you do need to know that formula. Where A is the area, H is the height, and you have the two bases, base 1 and base 2 are the lengths of the bases, base 1, base 2. What's the area of the trapezoid? So you're going to substitute this information here into the formula to figure that out, okay? So number one, you rewrite the formula. A is equal to 1/2 height, base 1 plus base 2. Be careful to substitute these values correctly. This is A is equal to 1/2. Your height is here, is 4. So you're going to put 4. And you're going to add the two bases together. Your first base is x minus 3. Okay. And then you're going to add x plus 7 together. So you're going to add the values together. Okay. All right. So we got 1/2. Half of 4 is 2. So we got 2 right here. We got to multiply. You add here. So x plus x is 2x. -3 plus a positive 7 is a positive 4. Okay. Now this is distributive property. So we're going to multiply. We get 2. We get 2 times 2 is 4. So this is going to give you 4x, and then 2 times 4, that gives me 8. Okay. And so that's my area there. And so my answer is going to be B. Okay. So I'm going to put B on my paper, box it in, and move on. All right. Number 2, what is the sum? So we're going to add these two together. So number 2, the first polynomial or trinomial, because it's 3 terms. Okay, write that out. Then you're going to add, because remember it says sum. Let's put the like term under it. So this is -5x squared. Then we got a positive 6x under this term. And then we got plus minus 4, sorry. Okay, so we're adding these together. So when we add this together here, this gives us a -8x to the second. We add this together. If it helps you to write it side by side, that's fine. That's -7x plus 6x. This gives me a -x or -1x. Then side by side, this is 9 plus a -4. This gives me a +5. Okay, so that answer is going to be, let's see here, minus, this gives me 8, the first one. Okay, all right. Which expression is equivalent, okay, to this right here, and you're adding them together? So we're going to do the same thing we just did. Add the like terms together. So here, these are like terms. This one and this one are like. You're adding them together. So that's 3x to the 5th plus a -2x to the 5th. They're like terms. So when you do that, that gives you x to the 5th. Okay, positive x to the 5th. Then you don't have another term that's like this one. So this is plus 17x to the 3rd. And then these two terms are alike. So this is going to be -1 plus a -6, so that gives you a -7. Okay. All right, and so that is A. Okay, that's A. All right, so let's keep going. Let's do this one. It says find the length of the missing side of the triangle. All right, the length of this side right here. This is the side that's missing. So we use Pythagorean Theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay. So let's see. Or well, I don't know, it's a right triangle, so you can't use that. So they gave you the perimeter. So let's just subtract the values. Since they gave you the perimeter, that's really what they want you to do anyway. So let's add these two together, add these measurements together, and subtract it from this, because this is going to be the distance all the way around. So if we add these together and subtract it from this, that's going, whatever is left is going to be this long one. So let's add those together. So that's 2x minus the 4, and we're going to add the like terms. So this is going to be 5x, and when I add that, I can do it side by side because that helps me see it better, right? This gives me a -9. So this is the sum of these two. So I'm going to take this sum and subtract it from this. X squared plus 5x plus 11. Okay, so when I subtract, put this up under it. This is a positive 5x. And this is a -9. So let's subtract. So when I subtract, this right here gives me x squared. Okay. This is gone when I subtract. And then when I subtract this, I can write it side by side. 11 minus a -9. And so this is plus a positive. So this gives me 20. Okay. All right. And that's what I get is my answer there for C. This is my answer right here. Okay. All right, let's look at this one. It says, what is the length in the perimeter? So we gotta find the length of these sides and add them together. So this bottom one is the easiest one. This is 2 units, okay? This is 2. So this one right here, we don't know. So in order to find that, we can use the distance formula, or we can use Pythagorean theorem. The distance formula is pretty easy. It's x squared minus, well, not squared. It's x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. That's how you can find the distance that way between the 2 points. Or you can use Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. It doesn't matter which one you use. If you use Pythagorean theorem, then this is 1 and this is 1. Right here, you see it, and you're finding the c side. So this is 1 squared plus 1 squared. And that's how you can do it that way. You can use Pythagorean theorem, or you can write the points in and substitute it. Let's just use Pythagorean theorem for these. You can write the distance formula down and use the distance formula, or you can use Pythagorean theorem. It doesn't matter, but I'm gonna use Pythagorean theorem because I feel like most of us probably know Pythagorean theorem. So I'm finding this distance, so this is gonna be my C. So this is 1 unit and 1 unit. So this is going to be 1 squared plus 1 squared equals c squared. Okay, so this is calculator active, so I can use my calculator for this one. I have 1 squared plus 1 squared, and that gives me 2. So this is 2. So now I'm going to find the square root on both sides. Remember, the opposite of squaring a number is square root. The opposite of cubing a number is cube root. We're using square root here. So the square root of 2 is, and are we rounding this in? We're going to round to the nearest 10th place. It doesn't say. So this is going to be, or I could just put square root of 2 and then round it at the end. Okay, so let's just put square root of 2 for this one. Okay, so this measurement is square root of 2. So let's find this one. So draw a right triangle for this one, so you can figure out this measurement. So this is 1, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 squared plus 5 squared equals c squared. So you can find this hypotenuse here, or that measurement. So I'm gonna do that again. 1 squared plus 5 squared, and that gives me 26. I've been acting dyslexia this morning. So we got here your square root. So I'm gonna leave it at square root of 26, okay? So this side is square root of 26. Okay, so now let me find this side here. So I'm gonna draw a right triangle again. Okay, so let's look at this one. This is 1, 2, 1, 2. So this is 2 squared plus 2 squared is equal to c squared. Okay, so that's gonna be 2 squared plus, 2 squared plus 2 squared. That's 8. So we're finding the square root of 8. So we're gonna leave it as the square root of 8 for now. So this side is the square root of 8. So now we're approximating, which means we're gonna estimate. So we're gonna add all these sides together. So we're adding 2 plus the square root of 2 plus, and I don't know why I put this, I'm tripping there, plus the square root of 26 plus the square root of 8. So we're going to add all those together, okay? So let's do that. We have 2 plus the square root of 2 plus the square root of 26 plus the square root of 8. Okay, look at this. This is going to be 4.7. So this is about 4.7. Okay, and if it rounded to the nearest whole number, it would be 5. Okay. All right, but it doesn't say, doesn't specify. Okay, so number 6. Wait. I forgot something. Hold on. I did forget something. Hold on. 26. Let me make sure I did that right. Okay, so we got 2 plus the square root. Wait a minute. Let me do it one more time. 2 plus the square root of 2. 2 plus square root of 2. I'm gonna close that up. Plus the square root of 26. I'm gonna close that parentheses. Plus the square root of 8. And let me close that parentheses. Let me make sure I got all the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's see what. All right, yes, I typed it in wrong. I was like, wait a minute, that number is too small. I think about that for a second, y'all. Ooh, I was like, I'm tripping on that one. That number is way too small. All right, so this is my answer here. Okay. All right, so we got Sylvia worked for a store that sold a cylinder-shaped children's pool. Okay. And it says she made a sign relating the volumes of these two pools. All right, so these are the two pools right here. This one's 3 feet deep and the diameter is 12 feet. This is 1 foot deep and the diameter is 24. Okay, so the volume of the paddle pool is 108 pi cubic feet. So they didn't multiply the pi within there. They just left it in terms of pi, which is fine. You see that a lot. It says the platter pool holds which percentage. So we got to figure out what percent of the splatter food does it. Okay, so let's figure out what this, what the volume of this is. So remember, the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared times the height. And they didn't multiply pi. So we're not going to multiply pi, but we're going to multiply everything else. So we got pi times your radius is half of the diameter, half of 24 is 12. So from here to here, it's going to be 12 feet. So we got 12 squared and the height is 1. Okay. So look at this. Oops, sorry. So we got, we're going to leave pi as is because we're not going to multiply pi. We're writing it in terms of pi. And this gives me 12 squared times 1. That's 144. So this is going to be 144 pi. Okay, this is 144 pi. So you want to figure out what percentage, it says the bladder pool holds which percentage of the paddle pool. Okay, so the splatter pool was talked about first, so that's going to be on top. So that's going to be the splatter pool is 144 pi. And the paddle pool is on the bottom. It was talked about second. So that is 108 pi. Okay, so we want to know the percentage. Okay, we want to know the percentage. So pi divided by pi, of course, is going to be 1. And then, so let's figure out what percent this is going to be. So let's divide. This is calculated active. So you got 144 divided by 108. You see how this gives me a decimal of 1.3 repeated? Okay, so we're gonna move, this is a decimal. So in order to change a decimal to percent, you're gonna move it over 2 places to the right, 1, 2. The number that's repeating is 3, so you're gonna put a 3 here, okay? So this is going to be about 133%, okay? So the answer choice here is going to be C. The answer choice here is C. Okay. All right. A line segment has an endpoint or endpoints. These are your endpoints right here. The point K is the midpoint. Write the equation that's perpendicular to JL passing through K. Okay, so you got to figure out what the midpoint is. That point is first, and then write an equation that's going to be perpendicular to it. So this is your line, and this one is 2. I'm just hypothetically speaking, okay? This is the line. Okay, we got to figure out what this point is right here because we want to know, we got to write the equation for this to figure out what the slope is. And then after we figure out the slope, we can figure out what the equation of the line that goes through it that's perpendicular to it. So first things first, let's figure out what is the equation of this line first. So that's what we're gonna do. It's calculated active, so we can do that in the calculator. So look at what we got. Look at what we have, sorry. Stat, edit, type these 2 points in. We got 2 and 4. And then we got 6 and 8. Now we want to stat, calc, lean rig. And this gives us this equation. Y is equal to, look at this. 1 is my slope, so that's just X. It's automatically 1 in front, plus 2. So we found the equation for this line first. Now we need to find the slope is 1. So the slope of the other line is also going to be 1. Okay, so now we need to figure out what B is going to be. So in order to figure out what B is going to be, we need to know what this point right here is. So we can use this point to find B. And that's what we're looking for. So in order to do that, we got to use the midpoint formula to figure out where K is. So remember, I'm going to use my white paper, go back to it. Your midpoint formula is adding the X's together and dividing by 2. That'll give you your X coordinate. Add the Y's together and divide by 2 will give you the y coordinate. So let's look at your endpoints. The x's are 2 and 6. So we have 2 plus 6 divided by 2. Okay. And your y is 4 and 8. So you add 4 plus 8 together and divide by 2. So this is 8 on top, and 8 divided by 2 gives me 4. And this is 12 on top. 12 divided by 2 gives me 6. So this is my midpoint. This is my K. Okay. So I'm going to use this X, Y to figure out what B is. Okay. I'm going to use that to figure out what B is. Let me move that out the way. Okay. So to figure out what B is, I use Y equals MX plus B. I already know what my M is, which was 1. I have an X and a Y value. So my Y is 6. So put 6 right here for Y. This is 1 times my X is 4. So now I can solve for B. So this gives me 4 plus B. I'm going to subtract 4 on both sides. This gives me 2 is equal to B. So my equation, if my slope was already 1, my equation is going to be y is equal to 1x plus 2. Okay, so that's going to be my equation. So really, it kind of got cut off, didn't it? But here is the answer. This one got cut off, but that's not the answer anyway. C is your answer there. Okay, C is your answer. Number 8. All right. It says the triangle has these vertices. What is the parameter? Okay. So couple things that you could do here is you could use the distance formula. Okay, I'm gonna draw this out to the side. Okay. Or you can use your graph paper and graph these, but use graph paper. I don't even have graph paper handy real quickly. I should have printed some graph paper, but I didn't. I'm sorry, y'all. 1 and then 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then we got 2 and then down 1, 2, 3. Okay. Connect these. Okay. Then we have -1, -1, and -1. Okay. So you're finding the distance of the 3 sides. Here to here, here to here, and here to here. So this is 1, 3. This is 2, -3. And this is -1 and -1. Oops, sorry. -1 and -1. All right, so let's find the distance between these two. The distance formula is the square root of x, parentheses, x2 minus x1 squared. Then you add y2 minus y1 squared. So let's use that. This is x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay. All right, so here we have x2, which is 2 minus 1, then square it. Then -3 minus 3, then square it. Okay. All right, so let me use my calculator. So this is going to be 1 squared plus this is going to be negative, what is this? -6 and square it. So this gives me 1. This gives me a -6 times -6, that's positive 36. Okay. And so this is going to be 37. All right. So this side is the square root of 37. Oops. So let's do this side now. Okay. So this is x 1, y1, and let's make this x2, y2. So let's do this side. So d is equal to, let's do it again, x2 minus x1 and square it, plus y2 minus y1 and square it. Okay, so look at what this gives us. Look at this. All right, so we got, this is 2 minus -1, square it. This is 1. Lord help me. Good grief. This is -3 minus -1 and square it. Okay, so this is going to be 3, square it, plus this is going to be a -2, square it. Okay, so this gives me 3 times 3, which is 9, plus 2 times 2, which gives me 4. Negative times a negative is a positive. So this is going to be 13, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, right? So square root 13. This is square root 13. Okay, so now I'm going to do this one. Okay, I'm going to make this the first point and this the second point. Okay, all right, so let's do this one. D is equal to, doing it again, x squared minus, okay, y2, y1, square it. Okay, so now here again, your x2 is 1. So we got 1 minus a -1, square it. Then we got 3 minus a -1, square it. Okay, so this is plus a positive, it's going to be 2. Okay, this is going to be plus a positive, this is going to be 4. Okay. Oops, sorry. All right, so this is 4 here. 4 plus this is 16 here. So we got 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so this is the square root of 20 on this side. All right, so now we're going to add those together. Okay, we're going to add all of those together. So we have, we have the square root of 20, close the parentheses. Okay, see how I typed it in wrong last time. Then we have the square root of 37, close the parentheses, plus the square root of 13, close the parentheses. Okay, close the parentheses each time. And so this gives me 14.16, 14.16. Okay, and so we're rounding it. It says about, so this is about 14.16, it's about 14, okay? Because it's rounded to the nearest whole number. So it's going to be about 14. All right, these are your vertices. Let's see, vertices of a quadrilateral, which is a 4-sided figure. And these are your ordered pairs here. What kind of quadrilateral is this? So what you do is you grab these ordered pairs to see what kind of quadrilateral this is. You can do this one on your own. Just graph the points and see what kind it is. Okay, if you want to know the answer to this, just text me and I'll tell you. But I do want you, I wanted you to do this on your own. Okay, don't just guess there. Just graph them. All right. Let's do this one. Number 10. Number 10 says that R is the midpoint. This is R right here, is the midpoint of this between these 2 points. So this is your midpoint right here. Okay. RS. Okay, it's midpoint. P is located at, where's P? This is 8, 10. Okay. And S, this is S, is located at 12, 6. What are coordinates of Q? So look, Q is in the middle between these two. So you need to figure out then what's this midpoint, and then find, after you figure out what this order pair is, you can find the midpoint here. So you're basically going to do midpoint twice, okay? You're going to do midpoint twice. So remember, to find the midpoint, you add the x's together and divide by 2. Then you add the y's together and divide by 2. Make this look like something, right? Okay. All right. Okay, so these are my x's here. So this is 8 plus 12 and divide by 2. These are my y's. So this is 10 plus a negative 6 and divide by 2. So we got 8 and 12. It's going to be 20. So we got 20 divided by 2. And then we got, this is positive 4 divided by 2. So this is going to give me 10, comma, 2. So this is 10, comma, 2. So now we got to find the midpoint between these 2 points. So that'll give me Q. So I'm going to do the same formula again. Add the x's together and divide by 2. Add the y's together and divide by 2. So these are this is what we're trying to find the middle of. So we add 10 plus 12 divided by 2. Then these are my y's. We add 2 plus negative 6 divided by 2. Okay? All right, so this gives me 22 divided by 2. And this gives me negative 4 divided by 2. So this is going to give me 11. And this is going to give me a negative 2. So 11 comma negative 2. 11 comma negative 2 right here is C, is my answer. All right. Here we go. It says County X has a population density of 250 people per square mile. The total population of the country, this is the total population right here. Which geometric model could be the shape of X County? Okay, all right, let's see. It says, let's choose the best answer here. Which geometric model could be the shape of County X? County X has a density population of 250. Okay. All right, so let's look and see. Okay, so we know that the population is 250 people per square mile. Okay. All right, so let's look at this. Let's see what would give us 250 per square mile. All right. 4 miles to the second power, right? Okay, so we got a parallelogram with the base. So parallelogram looks like this. Parallelogram with a base of 25 miles and a height of 25. So the area of a parallelogram is base times the height. So we have to multiply 25 times 25, and that gives us 625 here. So this will be 625. That's not going to work. That's not this. Okay. Rectangle, length times width. So this length times width would be 15 times 45. 15 times 45. That gives us 675. Ooh, that's not it either. All right, so a right triangle. So this is a right triangle here. It says where the leg is 30 and the hypotenuse is 50. Whew, so your leg is 30, so this is 30. And your hypotenuse is 50. I need to figure out what this side is. You know, if my leg is 30 and my hypotenuse is 50, I don't need this to tell me the area. 1/2 base times height. Move this over. I don't need this. I need to know what this is because this is the base. I have the height of 30, but now I need the base. So I'm going to use Pythagorean theorem to figure that out. Okay, I'm going to figure out this. So I got 30 squared plus b I don't know, and C is 50 squared. So we have 30 times 30. Let's type that in. 30 times 30. And that gives us 900. Okay. And then we got 50 times 50. And that gives us 2,500. Okay. So now to get B by itself, I'm going to subtract the 900 from both sides. So that gives me 2,500 minus 900. Okay, so this is gone and I'm left with B squared is equal to 1,600. Remember, the opposite of squaring a number is finding the square root. So I'm gonna find the square root on both sides, square root. And that gives me B is 40. Okay, so this is 40. So now I can use this formula. Okay, so this is my height. This is how tall it is. This is the length of my base. So A is equal to half my base, 40, times my height, which is 30. Okay, so half of 40 is 20. So all we're doing is 20 times 30. And this is 2 zeros, right? When I multiply this together, that gives me 6. Okay, so this is going to be, that's 600. All right, so the area is 600. That's not right. All right, so a trapezoid has a base length. Right, so this is a trapezoid. A trapezoid has a base length of 10 miles and 30 miles and a height of 25. Okay. All right, so let's do this one. So this formula is 1/2 height B1 plus B2. Lord have mercy. So this gives me 1/2. My height is 25. It's times 25. And I add my bases together. 10 plus 30 is 40. Okay, so let's see if this works out. Lord have mercy. We got 1/2 or 0.5 times 25 times 40. That gives me 500. Wait a minute, what are they asking for? Will be the shape, density 200. The total population. Oh, okay, so this, let me write this down, 500. I read that completely wrong. So I'm glad I wrote those out. So this area, what's this area? This area is 600. And this area is 500. So I wrote them all out. Okay, good. All right, so let me see. So if this is 200 per square mile. Oh my goodness. So the total population is this. So let's see how many, if in each square mile is 250. So let's divide to see how big that's gonna be. So we got 1. I read that completely wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we did 150,000 divided by 250. That's 600. Okay, so that's my answer is 600, which is going to be C. Yeah, I messed that completely up because it is 250 people per square mile. So we're going to divide to see how many square miles there are, if this how many people fit in each square mile. And this is the total number of people. So that's why I divided it and I got 600 square feet. Okay, so this is the answer here, which is C. Number 12, it says a company is designing a cylinder to hold marbles for a new game it is inventing. The cylinder has a height, and this is what a cylinder looks like, just like this, okay? The cylinder has a height of 18. The diameter, which is from here to here, all the way through, the diameter is 6, but you need the radius if you're finding out the volume. The radius is half of the diameter, which is 3. Okay, find the volume. So this is V is equal to okay? V is equal to pi r squared times the height. So this is going to be pi times your radius, which is 3, squared times how tall it is, which is 18. So let's type this in. Okay, this gives me pi. So that's second caret key, that's pi, times 3 squared times 18. Okay, round to the nearest 10th place. So to the nearest 10th place, that's going to be, you see right here, this is 508.9. Okay. All right, and the last one is telling you a line segment has these two endpoints. Point K is the midpoint of, okay, write an equation that's perpendicular. All right, this is the same thing that we did in the previous, in the problem. Where did I do that one at? I want you to try that one on your own. I did one just like that earlier. I want to see if you can do that one on your own, okay? All right, and let me try to figure out what number is that? What number was that I did it on? It was number, not number 12. Is that number? No. I don't remember where that one is, but I did a problem just like this earlier. So please see if you can do that one on your own. Okay. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. If you have any questions, just let me know.